More than 1/3 of American adults are obese. Why?
Processed food, too much sugar, unhealthy, anutritive calories. I think that, I mean, look, I've struggled with weight my whole life, but I eat whole foods, and my doctor says that I'm relatively healthy. Processed foods are killing us. I think that
What do you avoid?
I avoid anything processed. I
What do
try
you
to
mean processed?
processed foods, anything that your grandmother wouldn't recognize as food. So if that's canned soup, if that's frozen foods that are processed, if that's sauces out of bottles, I'm not talking about hot sauce that's naturally fermented or something like that, but processed foods, things that are made in factories. I avoid things that are made in factories. I avoid animals that are raised in factories. Remember, 75% of the food in America is now created by 10 or 12 different companies. That's a staggering number. Very few are dealing in fresh foods. Some of them have bought organics companies in a way to appease their shareholders and to show people that they have concern where they really don't have concern. They're more concerned with selling boxes, of instant mashed potatoes and instant skillet dinners.
What do you think of crop subsidies?
For corn, it's killing us. I mean, here's what's happening. I mean, from a financial standpoint, we've taken all of these microeconomies all around the country that have really been economic development programs. That's the family farm. And we've eliminated them and we have aggregated them into these giant agribusinesses. I'm speaking in very general terms right now. When we start subsidizing those giant agribusinesses that don't need it to keep milk prices artificially low, to keep corn prices so low that the other big agribusinesses can use them as sweeteners and as stabilizers in their food and so on, we're doing the general public a tremendous disservice, and we're creating a health imbalance in America. The people who rely on those companies because they can only afford inexpensive food then become prisoners of the system. A very famous person in our business said, you can have cheap food, you can have fast food, and you can have good food, but you can't have all three.
Except for Bloomberg's war on soda, food is never in politics, is it? We ever have a food debate?
It isn't, but it should be. No, I'm staggered at the prescience of your question. Several of us old-timers who've been fighting this fight for a long time were pushing the candidates this year. I never heard one question asked in any of the debates about food. I never heard a press conference where people were talking about food. Yet one of the biggest bills that gets renewed every 5 years is something called the Farm Bill. Embedded in that, just a piece of it is, $750 million dedicated to SNAP. Should be called the food bill. Kitchen table issues, how we feed each other, how we buy. It's the biggest industry in America. It's the thing we participate in all the time. And just one example of many, how our kids eat affects how much attention they pay in school, and it affects their outcomes. Kids who eat well have staggeringly better outcomes than kids who don't.
I'll tell you a true story. When Nixon and Kennedy were about to debate, before the debate, they both said, one thing we won't discuss, agriculture and food, because neither of us know what we're talking about.
Unbelievable.
It was never discussed.
Unbelievable.
Watch new episodes of Larry King Now Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on demand on Aura TV and Hulu.